My beloved brothers and sisters, not long ago, you felt something rare, something powerful, something many people spend their entire lives searching for. You felt close to Allah. Your heart was soft. Your prayers felt real. When you raised your hands, you felt heard. When you stood in prayer, you felt peace. There was a calm inside you that nothing in this world could replace. You remember that feeling? And now, be honest with yourself. Is that feeling still there? Or is it slowly fading? Because this is how it happens. Not in one moment, not suddenly, but quietly, step by step, until one day you realize that the closeness you once had is no longer the same. And this is the moment you cannot ignore, because losing your connection with Allah does not start with big mistakes. It starts with small changes you don't take seriously. So listen carefully, because what you do now will decide whether you keep that closeness or lose it. Closeness to Allah is a gift, not a guarantee. My beloved brothers and sisters, understand this deeply, because this is where many people misunderstand what they experienced. That feeling of closeness you had was not something you created by your own strength alone. It was not just your effort, your discipline, or your routine. It was a gift that was allowed to enter your heart. There are people who stand in prayer every day, yet they struggle to feel anything. There are people who make supplication, but their hearts feel distant. There are people who try again and again, but they do not taste that peace you once felt. Yet for you, there came a moment when everything felt different. Your heart softened, your focus increased, your connection became real. That was not ordinary. That was something Allah allowed you to experience. And when something is given as a gift, it must be valued, protected, and respected. Because anything that is not valued can be lost. Anything that is taken lightly can slowly be taken away. My beloved brothers and sisters, do not make the mistake of thinking that this closeness will remain automatically. Do not assume that because you felt it once, it will always stay with you without effort. That is not how it works. Closeness to Allah is something that is maintained, not something that is guaranteed. It grows when you protect it. It weakens when you neglect it. It increases when you respond to it. And it begins to fade when you become careless with it. Think about this carefully. When you felt that peace, did you not also feel a desire to do more? Did you not feel motivated to pray better, to speak less, to control yourself more, to turn to Allah more often? That was your heart responding to that gift. But what happens when a person stops responding? What happens when they ignore that feeling? What happens when they slowly return to habits that weaken that connection? The same heart that once felt close begins to feel distant. The same actions that once felt meaningful begin to feel heavy. The same moments that once brought peace begin to feel empty. Not because the door was closed, but because the person stopped knocking. My beloved brothers and sisters, understand this clearly. Allah brought you close once, and that itself is a sign that you can be brought close again. But you must show that you want it. You must show that you value it. You must show that you are willing to protect it. Because when you value something, you do not treat it casually. You do not put it at risk. You do not allow it to slip away without effort. You guard it. You protect it. You fight to keep it. And that is exactly how you must treat your connection with Allah. Do not treat it as a temporary feeling that came and went. Treat it as something precious that you were given. Something that you must now hold on to with care. Because the one who values that closeness will act differently. They will be more careful with their time, more aware of their actions, more conscious of what affects their heart. They will not allow small things to damage something so valuable. They will not allow distraction to take over completely. They will not allow carelessness to slowly erase what they once felt. My beloved brothers and sisters, this is where the difference begins. The difference between the one who keeps their connection and the one who loses it. One treats it as something valuable. The other treats it as something temporary. So ask yourself honestly, how are you treating what you were given? Are you protecting it, or are you slowly letting it slip? Because the one who protects this gift will find it growing stronger over time. And the one who neglects it will slowly feel it fading until they are left wondering where it went. So do not wait until it is gone. Do not wait until your heart feels empty again. Protect it now. Value it now. Hold on to it now. Because the closeness you felt was real, and it is worth everything to keep it. Losing it starts with small neglect. My beloved brothers and sisters, if you truly want to understand how people lose their connection with Allah, then you must understand this reality. No one loses it all at once. It does not disappear in a single moment. It does not vanish overnight. It fades slowly, quietly, in ways that seem small, almost harmless, almost unnoticeable. And that is what makes it so dangerous. Because when something feels small, you do not take it seriously. You do not feel urgency. You do not feel the need to correct it immediately. So it begins with something simple. A prayer that is delayed without concern. A moment of remembrance that is skipped without thought. A day where you tell yourself, I will do it later. A small mistake that you no longer feel regret for. These are not major changes. They seem like nothing, but they are the beginning. Because once you allow small neglect, it becomes easier to allow more. One delay becomes another. One missed moment becomes a habit. One small step away becomes many steps without realizing. And slowly the heart begins to change. The same prayer that once felt peaceful begins to feel heavy. The same words that once felt meaningful begin to feel empty. The same connection that once felt strong begins to weaken. And the most dangerous part is, you may not even notice it at first. Because the change is gradual. This is why Allah warns us in the Quran, وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطُوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ. Do not follow the footsteps of Shaytaan. Notice the wording, footsteps. Not one step, not one fall, but steps. Because distance from Allah does not happen with one big decision. It happens through a series of small, repeated actions that slowly take you further away. My beloved brothers and sisters, when you ignore a small delay, you are taking a step. When you allow a small distraction to take over your time, you are taking a step. When you return to something you once left for the sake of Allah, even in a small way, you are taking a step. And each step may feel insignificant on its own, but together they lead somewhere. They lead to distance. They lead to heaviness in worship. They lead to a heart that no longer feels what it once felt. And then a person begins to wonder, what happened to me? Where did that closeness go? Why does everything feel different? But the answer was always there. It was in the small moments that were ignored. It was in the small changes that were not corrected. It was in the small neglect that was allowed to continue. The danger is not in being weak. The danger is in being careless. Because weakness can be corrected. Weakness can be strengthened. Weakness can be healed. But carelessness allows damage to continue without resistance. And when there is no resistance, the loss becomes greater. So what should you do? You must take small things seriously. If you feel your prayer becoming delayed, fix it immediately. If you notice your focus slipping, bring it back immediately. If you fall into a mistake, correct it immediately. Do not say it is small, because small things grow. Do not say it is just today, because today becomes tomorrow. Do not say, I will fix it later, because later becomes harder. Act now, because the one who protects the small things protects everything. And the one who ignores the small things slowly loses everything. The closeness you felt was not lost in one moment, and it will not be protected by one moment. It is protected in the small decisions you make every day. The small efforts, the small corrections, the small moments where you choose to stay connected instead of drifting away. So be aware, be conscious, pay attention to your actions, because your direction is not decided by one big choice, it is decided by many small ones. And those small ones are happening every single day. So choose carefully, because those small steps are either taking you closer to Allah or further away. Your heart needs daily care. My beloved brothers and sisters, there is something within you that is constantly changing, constantly moving, constantly being affected by what you do and what you leave, and that is your heart. Your heart is not fixed. It does not remain in one state. It rises and it falls. It becomes strong and it becomes weak. It becomes soft and it becomes hard. It becomes close and it becomes distant. And the most important thing you must understand is this: your heart will not stay close to Allah on its own. It needs care. It needs attention. It needs to be nourished every single day. Just like your body cannot survive without food, your heart cannot survive without connection. Just like your body becomes weak when it is not fed, your heart becomes weak when it is not reminded, when it is not guided, when it is not connected. So if you felt that closeness before, it was because your heart was being fed. It was being fed with prayer. It was being fed with reflection. It was being fed with moments where you turned sincerely. And because of that, it became alive. But what happens when the feeding stops? What happens when those moments become less? What happens when the effort decreases? Slowly, the heart begins to weaken. Not all at once, not in a way that shocks you, but gradually, quietly, in a way that you may not even notice at first. The same heart that once felt peace begins to feel restless. The same heart that once found comfort in prayer begins to feel distracted. The same heart that once turned easily begins to struggle. And then a person begins to think something is wrong, but nothing is wrong. The heart is simply reacting to how it is being treated. Your heart responds to what you give it. If you give it moments of connection, it grows stronger. If you give it time with remembrance, it becomes softer. If you give it sincere effort, it becomes alive. But if you ignore it, if you starve it, if you fill your time with distractions instead, then it begins to lose that life. And this is something many people do without realizing. They expect their heart to stay strong while they reduce the very things that made it strong. They expect to feel the same closeness while giving less effort. They expect the same peace while filling their time with things that take away that peace. And this expectation leads to disappointment because the heart does not work like that. The heart is built through consistency. The heart is strengthened through repetition. The heart is kept alive through daily effort. So if you want to keep that closeness, you must care for your heart every single day. Not only when you feel motivated, not only when it is easy, but especially when it is difficult. Because those are the moments that matter the most. Those are the moments where your sincerity is proven. Those are the moments where you show that your connection is real. So what does caring for your heart look like? It is not complicated. It is in the small, consistent actions. It is in taking a few minutes to focus in prayer. It is in opening the Quran even when you feel distracted. It is in speaking sincerely even when your words feel simple. It is in choosing moments of quiet reflection instead of constant noise. These are not big actions, but they have a big impact because they keep your heart alive. They keep your connection strong. They prevent that slow drift that many people fall into. Do not wait until your heart feels empty to take action. Do not wait until you feel completely distant to try to return, because the longer you wait, the harder it becomes. Instead, maintain it daily, protect it daily, feed it daily. Even if it is small, even if it is simple, even if it feels like nothing, because those small daily efforts are what keep your heart connected. And the one who cares for their heart consistently is the one who remains close. So look at your life right now. Look at what you are giving your heart. Look at what you are feeding it. Look at what you are exposing it to. And ask yourself honestly, is this bringing my heart closer or slowly taking it away? Because your heart is following what you give it. And what you give it today will decide how it feels tomorrow. So take care of it, protect it, do not neglect it. Because the heart that is cared for stays alive. And the heart that is ignored slowly loses everything it once felt. Consistency keeps the connection alive. If there is one principle that protects your connection with Allah more than anything else, it is consistency. Not intensity, not temporary effort, not moments of strong emotion, but consistency. Because many people make a serious mistake after feeling close to Allah. They think that to maintain that closeness, they must do everything at the same level as before. They think they must keep the same long routines, the same level of energy, the same amount of worship. And when they realize they cannot maintain that level, they begin to fall, not slowly, but completely. They leave everything. This is where the loss happens. Because the connection with Allah is not built on doing everything perfectly. It is built on doing something consistently. Even if it is small, even if it feels simple. even if no one sees it. Because what is done consistently shapes your heart, your habits, and your entire life. This is why the Prophet, peace be upon him, taught us something powerful. Ahabbul a'mali ila Allahi adwamuha wa in qalla. The most beloved deeds to Allah are those that are consistent, even if they are small. Reflect on this carefully. Not the biggest deeds, not the longest prayers, not the most visible actions, but the most consistent. Why? Because consistency shows sincerity. Consistency shows commitment. Consistency shows that your connection is not temporary, it is real. When you do something small every day, it becomes part of you. It becomes natural, it becomes stable, and over time it becomes strong. But when you do something big for a short time and then stop completely, it leaves no lasting impact. So do not fall into the trap of thinking that small actions are not enough. They are more than enough. In fact, they are exactly what you need. A few moments of focused prayer every day, a small portion of reading every day, a few sincere words spoken regularly. These are the actions that keep your heart connected. These are the actions that protect your closeness. These are the actions that stop you from drifting away. Because drifting does not happen when you are consistent. Drifting happens when there are gaps. Gaps in your prayer, gaps in your remembrance, gaps in your effort. And those gaps slowly become distance. So close the gaps, even with something small. Even with something simple, because something is always better than nothing. And something done regularly is more powerful than something done once with intensity. Understand this deeply. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to remain connected. And connection is maintained through consistency. There will be days when you feel strong. There will be days when you feel weak. There will be moments when you feel motivated. There will be moments when you feel tired. But consistency means you continue anyway. You continue when it is easy. You continue when it is difficult. You continue when you feel it. And you continue even when you do not feel it. Because your actions are not based on your feelings. They are based on your commitment. And this is what keeps you close. This is what protects what you felt. This is what allows that connection to grow instead of fade. So do not aim for perfection. Do not aim for intensity that you cannot maintain. Aim for consistency that you can hold on to. Even if it is small, even if it feels simple. Because the one who stays consistent stays connected. And the one who stays connected never truly loses that closeness with Allah. So ask yourself honestly, what is one small action you can do every single day without fail? Hold on to that. Protect it. Stay consistent with it. Because that small action may be the reason your heart remains alive. Protect yourself from what pulls you away. My beloved brothers and sisters, there is something very important that many people overlook when they try to hold on to their connection with Allah. They focus on what they need to do, but they ignore what they need to avoid. And because of this, they slowly lose what they once felt, even while thinking they are still trying. Understand this clearly. Just as there are actions that bring you closer to Allah, there are influences that quietly pull you away. These influences do not always appear dangerous. They do not always feel harmful in the moment. In fact, many of them feel normal, acceptable, and part of daily life. But over time, they have a powerful effect. They change what you think about. They change what you focus on. They change how you spend your time. And eventually, they change the state of your heart. A person may still be praying, but their focus is gone. A person may still be trying, but their consistency is weakening. A person may still want to stay close, but something keeps pulling them away. And the reason is not always a lack of effort. The reason is what they are allowing into their life. Because what you repeatedly expose yourself to shapes you. What you listen to affects your thoughts. What you watch affects your focus. Who you spend time with affects your behavior. And over time, all of this begins to influence your connection with Allah. This is why protecting yourself is just as important as improving yourself. Because you can build something strong, but if you keep exposing it to damage, it will not last. You can feel close, but if you surround yourself with things that create distance, that closeness will slowly fade. So be honest with yourself. Look at your daily life. Look at how you spend your time. Look at what fills your attention. Look at what occupies your mind. Are these things helping you stay connected, or are they slowly taking you away? Because sometimes the problem is not what you are missing. The problem is what you are allowing. And if you do not control that, it will control you. There are habits that seem small but have a big impact. Time that is wasted without purpose. Conversations that add no value. Content that distracts more than it benefits. Moments that pull your focus away from what truly matters. None of these may seem serious on their own, but together they slowly reshape your life. They reduce your focus. They weaken your discipline. They make it harder to feel that connection you once had. And before you realize it, the heart that once felt close begins to feel distant again. This is why awareness is so important. You must be aware of what affects you. You must be aware of what strengthens you and what weakens you. You must be aware of what brings you closer and what pulls you away. Because once you become aware, you can make better choices. You can limit what harms you. You can increase what benefits you. You can create an environment that supports your connection instead of damaging it. And this is how you protect what you felt. Not just by doing more, but by removing what weakens you. Because protecting your connection is not only about adding good actions. It is also about removing harmful influences. And when you do both together, your connection becomes stronger. Your focus becomes clearer. Your heart becomes more stable. So take this seriously. Do not ignore the small things. Do not accept what you know is affecting you negatively. Do not allow your environment to decide your direction. Take control. Be intentional. Choose what enters your life carefully. Because what you allow today will shape who you become tomorrow. And the one who protects themselves from what pulls them away is the one who keeps their connection strong. Return quickly before the heart becomes hard. My beloved brothers and sisters, there is a moment that comes after a person begins to slip. A moment that is very small, very quiet, but very critical. It is the moment when you realize that something is not right. You feel it. Your prayer is not the same. Your focus is not the same. Your heart does not feel what it used to feel. There is a distance that you cannot fully explain, but you know it is there. And in that moment, you are given a choice, a very important choice. Either you respond to that feeling or you ignore it. And this choice will decide everything. Because the one who responds quickly protects their heart. And the one who delays slowly loses it. Understand this deeply. No one falls far all at once. Distance does not happen in one step. It happens gradually through delay. You feel the change, but you say, I will fix it later. You notice the weakness, but you say, it is not that serious. You see the difference, but you tell yourself, I will get back to it soon. And later keeps getting pushed. One day becomes a few days. A few days become a week. A week becomes longer. And with each delay, the return becomes harder. The heart becomes less sensitive. The concern becomes weaker. The urgency disappears. And what once felt serious now feels normal. This is how distance grows. Not through a sudden fall, but through repeated delay. The most dangerous thing is not making a mistake. The most dangerous thing is becoming comfortable after the mistake. Because when a person is uncomfortable, they return quickly. But when they become comfortable, they stop trying. And when they stop trying, that is when the heart begins to harden. A hardened heart does not feel the same regret. A hardened heart does not feel the same urgency. A hardened heart becomes used to distance. And once the heart becomes used to distance, returning becomes much more difficult. This is why you must return immediately. Not tomorrow, not later, immediately. The moment you feel that change, act on it. If your prayer is weakening, fix it now. If your focus is slipping, bring it back now. If you have fallen into something you left before, stop it now. Do not allow time to pass while you are in a state you know is not right. Because time does not fix distance. Action fixes distance. Effort fixes distance. Turning back fixes distance. And the sooner you return, the easier it is to restore what you lost. But the longer you wait, the more you allow that distance to grow. And the more it grows, the harder it becomes to feel what you once felt. You must develop a sense of urgency with your heart. You must care when something changes. You must notice when your connection weakens. You must refuse to accept distance as normal. Because if you accept it, you will live with it. And living with it will slowly make it permanent. So do not normalize what should concern you. Do not ignore what should wake you up. Do not delay what should be done immediately. Return quickly. Even if it is a small step, even if it is a simple action, even if it feels difficult. Because returning quickly keeps your heart alive. Returning quickly keeps your connection strong. Returning quickly prevents that slow drift that takes people far without realizing. My beloved brothers and sisters, the difference between the one who stays close and the one who becomes distant is not that one never slips. It is that one returns faster. One refuses to stay away. One refuses to delay. One refuses to accept distance. And because of that, they remain connected. So train yourself to return. Train yourself to act immediately. Train yourself to correct quickly. Because your heart depends on it. Your connection depends on it. And what you felt before can still remain if you protect it with urgency. So do not wait. Do not delay. Return now. Because the longer you wait, the more you risk losing what you once had. This closeness is meant to be your life, not a memory. My beloved brothers and sisters, understand this final reality with depth. Because many people get this completely wrong. They think that the closeness they felt was just a phase. They think it was a moment in time. They think it came and now it has gone. But that is not the truth. That closeness was not meant to be a memory. It was meant to be your life. It was meant to show you what your heart is capable of. It was meant to show you what it feels like to live with awareness, to live with purpose, to live with connection. It was meant to open a door for you, not to close it after a short time. So do not reduce what you felt into something temporary. Do not say that was a special time and now it is over. Because if you think like that, you will allow yourself to move on without trying to hold on to it. And that is how people lose everything. What you experienced was a glimpse of how your life should be. A life where your heart is connected. A life where your actions have meaning. A life where your time is used with purpose. A life where you feel peace not because everything is perfect, but because you are connected to the one who controls everything. And that life is still possible. It did not end. The opportunity did not disappear. The door is still open. Allah says in the Quran, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. And those who strive for us, we will surely guide them to our ways. Reflect on this carefully. Guidance is not only given at one time. Guidance continues for those who continue striving. If you make effort now, you will be guided again. If you try again, you will be brought closer again. If you take steps forward, doors will open again. But the condition is that you continue, not perfectly, but sincerely. Many people make another mistake. They think that if they cannot feel the same level of closeness, then something is wrong. They think that if the feeling is not as strong, then they have lost everything. But closeness is not only about feeling. It is about commitment. There will be times when you feel strong.